Now, this is the fly I'm going to be tying. This is a Kylie Shrimp. Basically, there is a slight difference that I've used some Arctic Runner dyed or flame on the top rather than just a cock hackle fibres in the original dressing. But everything else is much the same. It's a nice pattern. It's a great fishing fly. It catches many fish, salmon, sea trout, and even if you tied it in single hooks, it'd be a great steelhead fly. This is a slight variant of the Kylie Shrimp, and it's just basically I find it suits this style of hook. Like this, the Patriot, and this is basically a size 6. Now the thread I'm going to be using is the Uni 80 in red. So I'm going to start at the eye and come down maybe 5 or 6 mil. Now the tag can be wire, or in this case I'm using a fine or a small oval silver tinsel for the tag. So I'm just going to come down basically till I'm in line with the points of the hook. When I let the thread go, it should be in line with the point. Then I'm going to form a small tag with 4 turns winding round the bend. Now you can see there, I'm round the bend there. I'm going to bring the oval tinsel between the hooks and underneath. If you can see that there. And this locks in and stops the tag being pulled off. So I'm just going to tidy that up. I'm going to trim the length of the body so there's no lumps or bumps. Now we're ready for our, in this case, this is a hot orange bucktail. Nice warm colour. You don't need many fibres. Just part of the tail. And basically the tail has 3 fibres in it. Basically it's got the bucktail, hot orange. It's got a bit of flash, and it's got some golden pheasant breast. But what I'm going to do is just stack it up just a wee bit neater. Don't have to do it. Depends on the bucktail. Some bucktails lay really well. This one's a wee bit stubborn, it's a wee bit curly, but I like the colour, so I'm going to use it up. But we're still okay. There's the tips have lined up now. It's just a matter of working with the fibre that you have. Tail length is entirely up to yourself. I like a good length in the tail, at least. I usually go twice the hook over the back. The length of the full hook over the back. So 2 or 3 turns on there. Just leave these in out. Get some orange Krystal flash. Get 3 strands for this size of fly. Just going to lay that on the top. 2 or 3 turns. And then I've got some golden pheasant. You just need an impression of this fibre. So I've got one of the feathers just ready to tie in. So what I'm going to do is take away the fluff at the bottom. I want a nice colour, so on right and the left side. Usually what I do is I pull back what I want for the tail, take out the tip, break it off, then roll the fibre. You want it shorter than the bucktail, you want it to sit on top, and then just pinch and loop on the top. 2 or 3 turns. You could just take out the fibres if you want. This way it just sits a wee bit better if you tie it in like that. Now what I'm going to do now is just basically trim, keep the flash for the next fly. What I normally do is moisten it, just lay it on my desk so it doesn't blow around. And what I've got to do now is basically tidy up, but before we do that I'm going to tie in some small tag of black floss just at the back, just nice and tight. And I'm going to wax my thread. It's 3 turns, it's fine, nice and tight. And I'm going to trim this the length of the body so there's no steps. Try and keep it as even as possible. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just winding and tapping the fibre as I go, just to try and control it. This stops it rotating with the thread as you wind up. always say it, just take your time. Nice and tight with the thread turns. And there we are. Now, there's two parts to the body, there's copper and black floss. Copper is ribbed with a silver wire. So I've got a small silver wire, I'm tying the way down. I'm just going to catch it on the underside. And then wind up. Now if I get halfway up, or where the body, the copper side's got to finish, and we tie it in the way down. Now I'm actually using what they call peacock orange. Now it's obviously peacock one side and orange the other. Though this is very copper like, it's a nice bright orangey copper as I call it. Just going to cut it into a point. And this is number 10, it's quite large. 12 would be fine, even number 14 would be okay. So I'm just going to catch this on the way down. It's easier at times to wind things down or tie them in the way down to a point like here, and then we're going to bring the thread back up halfway, and then straight turn at the back, nice and tight. That's fine. Cross your thread, 3 or 4 turns in, again wax on your thread, just gives you the grip. Trim this away, and the rib, you're looking round about 3 to 4 turns, so you get tight on that. There we go. Just going to follow up with that turn, a 90-degree bend into the wire, and again it pays to actually wind up. There's no rib on the second part of the body, so just take this out of the way. You bend and break away the wire. You want that to be well tied in. Come back up, then we're going to put in basically what there's a false hackle, or top and bottom. So I've got a hen hackle here, hot orange. I'm going to just bring it 90 degrees from the stem. So the fibres, you'll see the tips starting to line up, so then you can tear away. Now keep that feather for the other side. This is going to be the underside. Now I like it to come down, obviously, in towards the back of the hook. So what I'm doing here is just holding what I want, my finger and thumb, and pinching the loop up the way. Spreading the fibre. And do the other side. Again, we bring it 90 degrees out, just peel it away. Yeah. Same length. Just to the tips to the back of the hook. Again, we tie this in. I'm going to trim this the length of the body I'm wanting, top and bottom. The black floss. You catch this in. Again, wax on your thread, just give you a grip. Wind up as neat as you can. Give yourself, I would say, probably around about 2-3 mil from the eye to tie in your materials at the top. Nice straight turn at the top with your floss, and then we wind down. Catch it in, 3 or 4 turns. At this point, just check, see how neat you are. That looks fine, that looks okay. Then trim, floss away, wax your thread, tidy up. See how things are sitting, looks fine, it's okay to me. Now, there's a throat, same, I've got the hen. There's 2 fibres I'm going to be using for the throat. I've got the Guinea fowl, dyed blue, and again the hen, hot orange. Now you can, basically the wing I'm going to change, but I'll show you that when I go to tie it in. But basically I'm using the same hackle for the throat, and then under that and over that I'm going to put some blue, dyed blue Guinea fowl. So we do the same again really, just bring the fibres 90 degrees from the stem, tips will line up, you can tear them away, offer it underneath, Obviously you could go the same length, but obviously because it's further up they'll separate. We can then pinch and loop up the way like we did before. We can then trim away the excess. Make sure you wax on your thread. Now this is one of the feathers from the wing of the Guinea fowl. I like these for throats. It's a great fibre. So I'm just bringing it 90 degrees out. Tear it away from the feather. You could use the wee feathers, they're fine. Just I like using these up. So what I'm going to do is get the length I want. Again, what we're going to do is pinch the tips of the fibres that we want, and just pinch and loop up. We can then make sure we spread the fibre just underneath. See how it's sitting. That's fine. Wax on your thread. Then we can trim this away as neat as we can. Just watch your thread. There's a lot to the fly, I know, but it's a good pattern. It's caught a lot of fish. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put, this is where flash, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of flash underneath. So I've got the flash we used for the tail. I'm going to go back to that. I'm just going to line up the ends. So we've got 3 strands there, on it towards the end of the fibres, the end of the hook. Let's catch this in a couple of turns, fold it back, trim away the excess. Now what I've got here, this is Arctic Runner. You see it's a really bright colour. What I've done, if you look at the tips of the fibre, they're hot orange, and then to get it that flame-like colour is to put red in it, and that's how I get the flame. Not got much of this left, I'll need to dye some more. It's a really good colour, it worked for me. So we just bring it out, the natural amount of material we need. It really warms up the fly. You can use just cock hackle, you could just go back to where it originally was tied. Now again, I want this to the end of at least the end of the hook. You can tie it in a couple of ways. One of the main ways I do it is to get the length of the wing I want, and I trim away the excess. Wax your thread, hold it to the hook, and then cut the thread into these cut ends. Basically what you're doing is cutting the thread in stages, catching the hair in different ways. Now before you get any further, just check the hair's sitting okay. The gentleman that showed me this many years ago was Warren Duncan when he came to Scotland, and I seen him doing this, and it's something I've practiced since. I seen Warren tying the hair in like that. And then what we want to do is just get ready for the jungle cock. Now I've got 2 small eyes ready to tie in, and just check the length. Now the tips of the jungle cock, I would say to the end of the body as a measure. So I've got both feathers, my finger and thumb. You'll see the underside of these feathers, which I'm going to lay either side of the wing. So then when I fold them round the front of the jungle cock, you'll see that. So hold them nice and tight. 2 or 3 turns just to secure them and hold them to see where they're going to sit. You can then manipulate or move them to suit. See where we are. Look at the length. Looks not too bad. Just going to bring this one in a wee bit. Just check. If you're not happy with the fly, you can always go back. Now, it is a shrimp type fly, so don't be shy with the jungle cock. Or you can leave it out. It's a really good fly even without. If you haven't got the jungle cock, just don't put it in. Now what I'm going to do is take thread turns down as you see, and come back up, folding back the stems of these jungle cock eyes. Just building the head up. Nice and tight. And keeping the thread tight, I can either cut them away or break them off. Then straight in, put finish. trim away your thread. Now it's red varnish normally for the head, but what I like to do, I've got the Glo-Brite number 4 floss, which I've put on obviously a bobbin holder. I'm going to run the wax through it, and then I'm going to wind it over the head, and just wind up. Halfway up, I'm going to trim away the waste. If I do this just now, it hides the wee tail that I cut away, and then we can carry on up, straight in and wet finish. Always keeping it nice and tight. We'll need a couple of turns is enough to hold it, because then we can then super glue and varnish it. That's what I normally do. Super glue dries a wee bit quicker. Just make sure everything's fine. Super glue all the way around. This is the one from Fowl. Comes with a brush. It's easy to apply. The only thing I've done is I've reduced the brush. I've cut it down to suit. It could be a wee bit wide, but then most are. So we'd allow that, go around, make sure it's all the way around, and allow that to set. And the super glue obviously dries really quick, and then you can varnish. A couple of coats of varnish and the fly is finished. So basically that's the Kylie Shrimp. It's a nice pattern, it's really bright as you can see, a lot of colour in it. I'll give you a slight variant with the wing, a wee bit of flash, but with this idea of tying your own flies, you can add your own wee bits and pieces here. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for watching, and please subscribe, it is free.